What's up, y'all? So as you can tell by the title, we're doing some DIY nails while I do a story time. So the reason I'm already in the midst, like I've already prepped my nails, I'm already starting to lay acrylic, everything, just to let y'all know. So I'm currently doing my nails for my friend's wedding. So you guys don't know too much about this friend. She really hasn't been introduced on the channel yet, but I love her to death. I do not play about this lady at all. So you guys know how you guys, oh my god, this airplane, bro, my lord, I thought they was never gonna finish flying over me. Anyways, yeah, she hasn't been introduced on the channel yet, so y'all really don't know who this person is. But you know how you have, you know, those jobs, like you have a big girl job, and it's a job where like all walks of life gets introduced to you, from different cultures, different ages, different people, you know, all that stuff. This story time is in honor of Lupe, because I'm doing my nails for her wedding, because her wedding's tomorrow. So I was like, why not me tell the best prank I've ever pulled on this lady in my life? Well, her full name's Guadalupe, but you know, Lupe for short. So Lupe's in her 50s, I'm 23. Like, you know the older best friend that you make at work? That's Lupe to me. So basically, the story time takes place on April Fool's Day, which, ironic, I know you pulled a prank on April Fool's Day and nobody noticed. I don't know how they did not notice until I came clean. But yeah, they did not realize. So to paraphrase, I hold Lupe and my supervisor in very high regards. I would put them up there with my parents. Like the amount of respect I have for them, I put them up there with my parents. That's how much I don't play about them. And so I pretty much tell them literally almost everything. I tell Lupe and my supervisor at work literally every fucking thing. Everything really got planned out perfectly, because I believe like a week to a week and a half before I decided to pull this prank, I was not feeling well. I wasn't really sure what was wrong with me, but you know, my stomach was feeling weird. Like pretty much almost every day my stomach was just feeling off. Mind you, it had nothing to do with baby. Absolutely nothing to do with baby. That's why I was like, I don't know what was wrong with me. My stomach was just acting up. So of course I had told Lupe, and I was like, yeah, Lupe, I've been feeling funny. I don't know what it is. Blah, 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 blah. Which leads us into April Fool's Day. So early morning April Fool's Day, I had woke up and I was like, you know what? I've been talking about pulling this little pregnancy prank for the longest time now. It's time to, you know, finally do it. Like I said, my job has all different strokes of life, different cultures. And so at least on my shift, I work with mostly Hispanic and Latino people. In their culture, it's very normal for them to get married early. It's very normal for them to have children early and have quite a few children. So when I tell like the Hispanic people I work with, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not married, I don't got no kids, da da da. They're like, girl, they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, girl, what is wrong with you? What do you mean you ain't got no man? What do you mean you ain't got no fucking kids? Like, what do you do all day? And I'm like, damn, like, I ain't know it was that deep. And so I've told a lot of them, like, oh yeah, I'm not having kids, which I don't want to have any children. And they're like, no, mommy, you have to have one, at least one. And I'm like, girl, no, fuck them kids, absolutely not. But Lupe was one of them. Lupe and my supervisor, they really wanted me to have a kid. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So again, I woke up really early April Fool's morning, and it's really because I don't sleep through the night. I don't know why. What's that about either? I don't understand nothing with that. 9 times out of 10 is going wrong with me. I just be trying to live and I get attacked by my own body system. It's crazy. I woke up and I was like, you know, I've been talking about this little prank I've been wanting to pull. I'm gonna pull it this year. So I literally went on Google, found the most random clear blue test with a black looking hand, and I downloaded it. And then I edited it. Anyways, I edited the picture, right? Just to make it look a little bit more believable and like I took it. And then I saved the picture to my phone. So then I went to work I'm talking like my nerves were spiraling. Like it was as if I was actually pregnant and I was gonna go tell these fools that I was pregnant. Like that's how bad my nerves were. And I'm like, and I feel like it was because in the back of my head I'm like, oh yeah, when they find out this is a prank, they're gonna fuck me up. So I go and I get my apron, I kind of get all my stuff like normal. And I go to Lupe and I'm like, oh Lupe, like I gotta talk to you, but I'm gonna come holla at you in a bit. And she's like, okay. And you could tell that she's kind of nervous because like the look on my face, like when I don't like, I want to say like when I tell you guys I was selling it, I was laying it down tight. But like I said, it genuinely felt like I was going through the motions of actually being pregnant and having to tell people. I think at this point in time, she had injured herself. Yeah, she had injured herself. So she wasn't doing her normal job. She was actually somewhere else. So I had to go track her down. And I was like, oh, Lupe, like I gotta tell you something. I was like, you know how I've been telling you that I've been feeling funny? And she was like, you're pregnant, aren't you? Because when I tell you this lined up perfectly, because I'm pretty sure I already said it, but like I said, my stomach was feeling weird. Like I was feeling funny, I was feeling bad for like a couple days. And then literally me and Lupe had just had a talk about kids. And I was like, yeah, Lupe, like, I don't want no kids. I can't do it. It's not for me. And she was like, I don't want to hear you about not being able to do this, that, and the third. You know, Lupe was a single mom of like, I think at the time when she became a single mom, she had like six kids. So, you know, she was doing the damn thing by herself. Me personally, I just don't want to do it. I personally don't want to do that. But I commend Lupe for everything she was doing for her children around that time, because that's what a mom's supposed to do. But yeah, we were having those type of conversations. Literally, I want to say a week or two before April Fool's. So it was timed out very perfectly. That's why she was like, oh, you're pregnant, because I had already been telling her that I have been feeling off. And so I'm like, yeah. And so I pull my phone out and I show her the little fake ass pregnancy test. And she looks at it and she's like, oh my God, Ayana. She just gives me a hug and she's like, I'm so sorry. And then she's like, is it so-and-so's? Mind you, so-and-so is a dude that we both know. Like she's very cool with him. And then me and him had somewhat started talking. And so we had just stopped talking, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks before April Fool's. And so like I said, all this was perfectly timed. Like everything fell in place. So she's like, oh, is it so-and-so's? And to save me time and effort, I said, yeah. I said, yeah. I was like, oh yeah, it's his baby. Mind you, A, we're not talking. B, he knows nothing about this prank. I did not let him on the prank. I didn't tell him I was doing the prank. I was like, you don't need to know, because hopefully they're not going to come talk to you, because I'm going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm like, yeah, it's his, because like at this point, at least I don't have to make up some fake guy. Because like I said, I tell Lupe and you know, my supervisor everything. So it kind of be weird to bring up this random guy that I've never brought up to either one of them at least once. So I was like, sure, if you don't believe it's so and such baby, let's go with that. I have no issue with doing that as long as y'all don't bring it up to him. So I'm like, yeah, it's his. And then she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she gives me another hug. And she was like, at that point, yeah, she was just like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she was like, I believe she was like, does our supervisor know? And I was like, oh, like I'm finna go talk to her now, because I did the prank on her too. But like I said, it's mainly Lupe focused because it's a Lupe themed video. So I did go into my supervisor's office and I told her about it. And again, she was pretty much was like, oh, is it such and such baby? Again, to save me time and effort, I lied and said, yeah. Mind you, whole time that man's never touched me. That man has never touched me like that. And so I was like, oh, I told Lupe. Like, I was basically telling her, like, oh, only you and Lupe know. And then I was like, oh, like, I won't have to stop doing my job, right? Because mind you, this was a prank, this wasn't real, so I didn't want to get moved away from the job I already had. And so she was like, no. She was like, you can do your job as long as you feel comfortable. Like, I'm not gonna make you stop doing your job. She was like, you should know, like, I spoil all my pregnant employees, da da da, which she does, because at the time my team lead was pregnant and she was spoiled pretty good. So after that, I leave her office, I'm laughing. It's like all the symptoms went away and I'm like, yo, cause it was like, to me, I was like, I dead ass could not believe I was getting away with that shit. I was like, I'm really getting away with this shit. Like I was like, nobody knows it's April Fool's. Like nobody recognizes that it's April 1st. So I was like, okay. So by that point, I was like, shit, I'm gonna see how long I can keep this going for. I was like, I'm gonna keep this shit going up the whole day. Fuck it. And then I was immediately shown why the fuck that could not happen. Cause I came back from the office and Lupe was on me like white on rice. And I was already also starting to feel bad because, Lupe and my supervisor was like, they were really supportive. They were like hella supportive. And they were like, oh, like, I know you're gonna be a good mom. Anyways, I come back and then that's when Lupe asks me, she's like, oh, does such and such know? And I'm like, no, he doesn't know yet. I just found out this morning, so I haven't told him. And she was like, you need to tell him. She was like, you need to tell him today. And I'm like, yo, why am I getting pressed like this? And she's like, you need to tell him today, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, Lupe, I'm not telling him at work. And she was like, of course not. But she was like, but after work, you need to tell him and then you need to call me and let me know how it goes. That's when I finally understood that this prank could not go on as long as I wanted it to go on. That's when I started to get the inkling like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I'm sorry. It got hot as shit in my room. And so my acrylic is drying a lot faster than normally would. Like I don't have a little wiggle room to mess with it because it's hot as shit in my room for whatever reason. And it was crazy because her reaction was far different from Tanisha's reaction as far as like me telling the dude or not. And when I told Tanisha that he didn't know, she was like, oh baby, it's okay, like, take as long as you need, but he does need to know, da da da, blah blah blah. And so I was like, yeah, da da da, I'm not telling that fool because his prank ain't real, but you don't know that, ha ha ha. Type shit. Lupe, on the other hand, was like, no, you need to tell him today. I want details tomorrow. And I was like, okay, maybe this prank can't go for as long as I thought I could let it go. Whole time, each time, like I'm walking away from them after we're talking about smaller details, I'm laughing my ass off. Cause I'm like, yo, there's no way I'm getting away with this. In between time of work, Lupe would literally come find me and she'd be like, oh, like what gender do you want? She was like, what gender do you want? And I'm like, girl, I didn't have a gender pick because like I said, I don't want kids. So I'm never really thought about getting pregnant, caring about her gender or whatever. So I was basically like, and so essentially that's basically what I told her. And I was like, oh, Lupe, like, I didn't think I was gonna have kids. I don't really care about the gender. And so like she was pressing me on it. And she was like, oh, what about this? What about that? And I was like, all right, Lupe, what gender do you want me to have? And she was like, I want you to have a girl. Mind you, Lupe has like a good amount of kids. And when I say a good amount of kids, a good amount of kids. And they're all girls. I think only like 2 or 3 of them were boys. So I'm like, Lupe, mind you, she also has grandchildren and most of them are also girls. So I'm like, Lupe, why do you want another girl in your family? And she was like, I just feel like a girl would be so nice for you and she'd be so pretty, da da da. And I was like, all right, Lupe. And then again, as I'm working, she pulls me aside again and she's like, oh, well, how was it talking about the sex with this kid that she sees as her damn son? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, Lupe, I don't want to have this conversation with you. Like, you're basically up there with my mother. And I didn't have this conversation with my mother. I'm not about to sit and have this conversation with you. And so I'm like, Lupe, it was good. It was all right. And she was like, well, why didn't you tell me that you and him ended up having sex? And that's exactly why I couldn't make up a fake man, because literally I told that woman everything. So nothing was gonna get past her. And I'm like, oh, Lupe, well, I was embarrassed. Da da da. I didn't want to tell you that I gave it up to him. Da da da. Whole time, me and this kid never had sex. I'm not pregnant. She was like, well, was it good? Da da da. Did you like it? I'm like, it was alright. Like, oh my god. What's with the third degree? Leave me alone. And so yeah, it was just pretty much getting to the point. And like her and what was making me feel bad was her and my supervisor were really excited. And like even in the part, like when I first went to go tell my supervisor, this lady was already talking about a baby shower. I was like, look, I was like, you're thinking too far ahead. You're thinking way too far ahead. She's like, yeah, I know, but I'm so excited. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. And then her and Lupe got to talking about baby showers and shit. And I'm like, yeah, this definitely can't go on the whole day. Cause I was really starting to feel bad. I'm like, they're so excited for this imaginary baby that's not real. It's not real. We had our second break. And then that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna tell them that this isn't like a reality, because you know the baby's not real. I'm like, okay, like pinky promise you guys won't be mad and you're not gonna put your hands on me, because the Hispanic people, like once, at least the Hispanic people at my job, like once they adopt you into your family and all that stuff, they have no fucking problems putting hands on you like they're your kid, like you're their actual ass kid. So I was like, you gotta promise that you guys are not gonna hurt me. And they were like, well, never, da da da, because of course they think I'm pregnant. And so my supervisor had caught on before Lupe did, and she was like, April Fools, isn't it? And I just started laughing. And they were like, oh my god. My supervisor had started taking her belt off, so I took off running. Because I was like, this is exactly what the fuck I was talking about. I thought y'all said y'all was going to put your hands on me. So I take up off down the line, and I go around to the side to where they're both not at. And so Lupe is still trying to like piece together that there's no baby, it was an April Fool's prank, all that. So once she finally catches up, and she's like, so none of it was real? I said, none of it was real. She's like, so you're not pregnant? I'm not pregnant. I hadn't have sex with your son. None of that was real. So when she finally like gets that together, she's like, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So I'm laughing. I'm like, yo, this is the best prank ever. Nothing will top this. I said, I had both of you bitches fooled. And my supervisor was like, she was like, you had me in there looking up resources for you, all this, that, and the third. And I was like, yeah, that's why I started feeling bad. And I knew this couldn't go the whole day. So I'm thinking, it's later on in the day, I'm thinking like, she's finally calmed down. She's finally over it. She wasn't. She managed to grab my arm and she whooped me in front of the whole entire line with her bare hand. Like, she did not give two fucks. And they were stuck on that prank for weeks. When I say weeks, they did not let that shit go. I still don't think they've let that shit go. And honestly, if I get a turn to speak at her wedding, I feel like I'm gonna bring this story up. And so we pretty much had talked about it for like the whole day, and she was like, so you're really not pregnant? I said, I'm really not pregnant. And she was upset. Like her and my supervisor were upset about this little fake baby that wasn't real. They were like, it was gonna be such a cute baby. They were like, it was gonna be such a cute baby. They were like, look at you and look at him. Like, that baby was gonna be beautiful. I said, yeah, now it doesn't exist. But Lupe really spent the whole day trying to convince me. She was like, you don't have to be with the man. She was like, you could just get the sperm. And I'm like, Lupe, you have grandchildren already. And that was another thing that I knew, like, the prank couldn't go on for as long as it was gonna go, because she was already saying how excited she was about being a grandma again. And I'm like, oh girl, your heart is gonna be so broken because this baby isn't fucking real. And so she was like, you don't need a man to have a kid, da da da. I'm like, Lupe, I don't want children. And I'm like, Lupe, and I was like, Lupe, you have grandchildren. Why are you so upset about this little fake baby not being real? And she was like, and I kid you not, this is dead ass what she said. She said, I wanted a little chocolate one. When I tell you I was deceased, nothing in this world could have brought me back because I was not expecting that lady to say that shit. I said, I'm fucking gone, bro. I said, and you're done. I said, you're literally done. You're done. But was just revoked. But yeah, that is the story time of how I pranked Lupe for April Fool's Day. I'm actually gonna go ahead and finish my nails off camera, and I'll be back to show you guys the finished product.
Love yours. No such thing. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing.
Every second, every minute, man, I swear that she can get it. Say if you a bad bitch.